Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Chai with Garry. It's going to be an interesting show today. Happy Diwali for everybody out there. Hope you had a safe and a nice festival. But we are going to talk Liverpool United, the two most successful clubs in English football, one more than the others. So we have Vish and Ajay. Welcome, guys. Thank you for taking time.
Thanks for having us.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, although there's been a lot of rivalry between the two clubs, I think we'll just drill down and try to find similarities between what United is going through currently and what Liverpool's gone through probably a decade ago. First of all, great season, guys. Great win in the 2019 season, 2019-20. Great league win after a drought. How do you guys feel?
Oh, over the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, we can't celebrate as much as we want to.
I know. That is a shame. That is a shame. After the Champions League parade, which I didn't get to go to, I was really hoping I could make it up to Liverpool for this one, but I'm sure that we can celebrate the double, or not the double, the repeat win this year, hopefully.
Yeah, the back-to-backs.
The back-to-back.
It's a tough one. Tough one.
You guys have a few injuries now, huh? You guys have a few injuries, COVID. Just a few injuries. Just a few COVID cases.
Yeah.
It's dropping like flies. It's going to be a weird season. You just get that feeling, don't you? Where it's going to be this. Leicester again. I don't know.
Southampton's there now.
They're not going to sustain that.
No, of course not. But Everton's playing okay. There's Tottenham that's doing quite well. There's Arsenal.
Bro, we thought Everton were going to beat us.
I know.
As we can.
Only just did enough.
Just enough. Oh
Chelsea.
my God.
I mean, don't write off Chelsea either. They're strong. They made some pretty astute signings, and I think if he can get the forward line clicking, which he's now going, and just shore up the defense a bit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't put Chelsea out of the contention for
the thing about Chelsea, last season, they had a good attacking team anyway, but they kept conceding goals. But if you look at them this season, they just, they're so solid at the back.
Yeah, indeed. Thiago brings in a lot of experience as well. So if they can get the front line kicking.
Yeah. And all of these new signings are starting to score as well, right? So it took some time to get them blended into the Premier League, I guess. But there's Timo Werner scoring. There's I think Thiago also scored last game, didn't he? I think he scored a header or something like that. I can't remember.
The talent in that team is scary. I mean, I know we're talking Liverpool and we're talking Chelsea now,
but that's okay. We're just trying to figure out. But what do you guys feel? Do you guys feel you might win the league?
I don't know, Ajay. What do you think?
Well, I think we had all the chance in the world, man. I think this is the true test of that claim, right? Because with all the defensive injuries that we have, and Salah is now out on COVID for at least the next 10 days. We've got Leicester coming up. And a few unlucky VARs. Let's not get there. But yeah, a few unlucky.
We're not level of penalties that we get, So if we
Hey, but by the way, I have to say this, right? I think Liverpool, the thing is, if Liverpool get a player injured or what, there's still that confidence that someone is going to step into that injured player's role. And
that's true. That's true.
They've got a good,
how
setup.
Thiago Alcantara comes back in, because he's probably back in training right now.
Well, United, it's like one day we are playing like Barcelona, tiki-taka football. Next day we are playing like bloody Stoke,
I think consistency is the key, and interestingly, right? You guys were probably very successful in the 70s and 80s, right? Just let's take you back to the time which was not so. Was not so fresh in most Liverpool guys' history, which is probably the 2000s, right? Apart from the Champions League win and stuff like that. But talk me through that time. What do you guys feel? What do you think was missing during that time that you guys seem to have kind of conquered that gap, I guess? Now.
But the similarities are there, right? And there are lots of pundits who've made these comparisons, and this is an ongoing topic, right? You think about clearly you guys with 20 plus years of Fergie and the Liverpool domination in the 70s, it feels like kind of history repeating itself, right? You guys seem to be making the same mistakes we made for the. If you look at, I was just looking at it this morning at the list of managers. We had the boot room, right? So all of Shankly's men who, it was Paisley, Fagan, Dalglish, Ronnie Moran, Graham Souness, Roy Evans, one after the other. It was just people from the boot room getting into that, right? And it was still kind of harking back, and that's the thing I feel with you guys is, but you guys seem to have done slightly differently in that you've got Van Gaal and you then got really desperate and got Mourinho in, and you got some success, but you still kind of harking back. You're still talking gigs and scores and Olino and it just feels like kind of repeating itself. For us, the 2000s is an interesting one because I think Gerard Houllier was the first kind of overseas manager we had, who was almost the kind of Wenger signing for us, where he said, he was the first one to brought in diets. He was actually, you remember the famous kind of 90s Spice Boys in the Liverpool guys, where people would party like crazy, the Fowlers and those guys. And then you had Houllier come in and bring in all this thing of, you need nutrition and you need this and you need that. And then we had Rafa, of course. But it's always been kind of the nearly men for us. I don't know what you think, Garry. For us, if I think about the times when we genuinely would have won the league, 2001, we were close. 2008-9, we were close. 13-14, cruel, right? So we've had good squads in the middle, but it's always been that we're just short of United, just short of City. Which is why for me, even when we got to this time, when we fell short of City, winning the Champions League and having 97 points and still coming second was just brutal.
That was just,
we sat there going, what more should we do? So I think like a big pressure lifted off of us last year.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. It seems like you clearly not learned from our mistakes as a club.
Yeah,
and it's interesting they brought up the Spice Boys era of Liverpool, right? With Fowler, McManaman, Jamie Redknapp, Patrick Berger, because somehow they remind me, or the current Manchester United team reminds me of them. So not so much the partying and stuff, because we would have seen that online, but more that whole, demeanor of how they want to be portrayed online, social media, Pogba, and it's not about football. It's about their lifestyle, and they don't have that right attitude and the right mentality of what it takes to just go out there and win.
Yeah.
Do you think
I'm torn on this, right, Garry? I really want your opinion on this. Sorry, just on the whole Pogba piece. It's an enigma, right? As somebody who's not in the club, it just blows my mind. So I get what you're saying, Ajay, but he's a winner, right? He's won with France. He's really won wherever he was before.
Yes, but Pogba is somewhat of a Messi, right? So Messi is a tremendous club player, but he doesn't perform well for his country. And Pogba is right the other way around. He performs absolutely well for France, but I don't think he's much of a club player, at least not for United as a club.
Here's what I'd say about Pogba, right? Okay, Pogba is a world-class player. There's no debate about it, right? When he's on the field, the passes that he can make, the dribbles that he does. Very few United players, can do what he can do. But the problem I have with Pogba is that he's gone through Mourinho, potentially one of the biggest winners in world football, to kind of, in terms of mentality and the siege mentality where, it's everyone against United kind of thing. And then we went through, period where he had a lot of issues with Mourinho in terms of, there was a lot of things getting leaked out to the press that shouldn't have. So there's, and then now under Ole, like it's like inconsistent. But then when he plays for France, it's like a totally different player for whatever reason, right? There's a lot of animosity in United against Pogba, right? We've got a lot of animosity against Pogba because...
Well, I think one of the questions, again, Garry, going back to what you were saying, is whether he actually wants to be here. That's the question, right? Now, if he doesn't want to be here, he's not going to be performing to any level. It doesn't matter who your coach or manager is. It's just he just doesn't. I have a feeling he doesn't want to be here, or he wants to be here if United strengthen in other areas as well. So I don't know which one of the two it is, but there's that disconnect.
It's bigger than the club, Chai. That's what I'd say.
That's
right? What you're telling me then is somebody needs to have a bottle to kick him out.
Absolutely, and I don't
Yeah.
think there are people within United because Pogba sells shirts, right?
Yeah.
They cannot just leave him out because it's a financial. I think it comes down to the finances, right? Is he valuable enough player to keep in the squad, even though if he's not performing? Probably the answer is yes. Is anybody willing to pay the price tag that they paid for Pogba right now? Probably not. So he'll still be here. So unless those two kind of click in, I don't think we're going to sell him. Gary, unless you have a different opinion.
I think he's going to go to Real one way or another.
Yeah,
It's a matter of time, not if. I think
yeah.
he was meant to go to either Juve or Real this summer, but COVID, kind of came in, so that
Yeah.
kind of got shelved. But in terms of his commitment, look, I think he's got all the respect for Ole because when he came through the ranks in the youth team, Ole was
He was the
the
man.
coach, so he's
Yeah,
got a lot of respect for Ole in that terms. But in terms of where his mind is at, I don't know because every time he goes to play for France, you hear rumors about unhappiness coming out. Like
yeah.
just seems to come in more and more frequent now. So
Hmm.
if look, I've got
Yeah.
nothing against Pogba, but end of the day, we've got 11 players that we can feel on the team at any one point
Yeah.
in time. We can't.
But this comes back for me, Gary, to the management piece, right? You think about
Yeah.
what Sir Alex did really well. You had, I mean, I used to hate this guy, but he was so effective. Chicharito, I'll never
Yeah.
remember. Never started a game, would come on in the 60th minute, bang in a couple of goals, and never complain. You never heard anything. I mean, not publicly at least, saying, "Oh, I'm not getting enough minutes. I'm
Yeah.
scoring goals." And it's the same with Klopp, right? It's you think about
Yeah.
what Klopp's doing. Someone like Shaqiri,
Shaqiri, I was just about to say.
Origi.
yeah,
Yeah,
Origi.
yeah,
There
yeah,
are people who, I mean, Origi is a half decent player, right? He's not. He's definitely
yeah.
not a bench. He's not a bench warmer, but he's
Mhm.
Yeah.
played that role for us and scored some really, really important goals, right? But
Here's
you
the
don't
difference,
hear
I'd
any of
say,
them
right?
coming out and saying, "Sorry, Gary, go on."
Yeah, here's the difference, I'd say. Okay, one, if you're playing for Liverpool right now, Liverpool are probably the best team in England right now. Um, you know,
In the world, I'd argue.
barring Man City. I'll
Uh,
say it. Okay, right now they are probably
okay.
one of the best teams there. And secondly, you're playing for probably one of the best managers in the world as well. I'd say Jurgen Klopp is up there with Pep, if not better. So when you've got the opportunity to play for one of the best clubs and one of the best managers, you're going to put up with a lot of shit in the sidelines. Like you want to go and try to you'll do whatever you can to kind of keep quiet and do your thing in training to try to win your manager over. Like,
Yeah.
well, in our case, in Pogba's case, Pogba, he's clearly one of the best players we have. He's playing with a manager who's probably one of the worst managers in the league. For a team that's underachieving.
Hey, easy.
No, I'm just being realistic about the situation now.
It's
So
probably not the worst.
he's
It's just
obviously unhappy. Maybe it's he's unhappy with where United are, the promises made to him when he was first brought into the club. The club were said to have wanted to build a team around him, but where are those players around him?
yeah, that's true as well. But okay, so going back to your point about there are a lot of bench warmers that shouldn't be bench warmers at Liverpool. Ajay, would you think that if things weren't going as well as they are for Liverpool, would the bench players still be bench players, or would they express their sort of unhappiness? Would you think that would have come out a lot more?
No, man. I think it's all about performing during training and matches, right? Like, yeah, Origi's come off and scored some important goals, but he knows what his role is for the team, right? He knows he's going to get his minutes in. And other players, like I'm a big fan of Shaqiri. I want to see more of him, right? One of those true passes he did a few weeks ago, it was sublime for Jota, right? Like, and I really want to see, but I think he knows what his role is, right? Barring injuries, if everyone's fit, they know where they stand in the pecking order. They know why they're going to go out there. If it's just for pressing, if it's to go grab that winning goal, and 9 out of 10 times they do exactly what they're told. I think it comes down to how the coach manages you, and I think Sir Alex Ferguson was absolutely amazing in that respect. And I think Klopp's, really doing a good job in that respect as well.
Yeah.
I think it helps that you've got so many games, right? I mean, now with the shortened season, you literally as a fan, it's fantastic, right? Every 3 days, there's a game.
Yeah.
So if you're a player, what you're saying to Klopp will be saying to them is, you're not playing 60 games a season, you're playing 40. But all of
Yeah.
you are playing 40 games a season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would assume it gets a bit easier for Klopp to have those conversations to say, hey, listen, Shaq, you're going to be starting in FA Cup and whatever else, but you'll get minutes in the Premier League. And as you say, if you're winning and he's happy and he's scoring and he feels part of that team ethos, why would he complain?
Yeah.
Indeed.
And I
think the
think Gary
balance,
will, Gary, I think when we were playing against Sir Alex, and I think this is quite similar with Klopp as well, I think there was definitely something that clicked with the culture of what Sir Alex and Ferguson brought into the squad. And it kind of, in a way, it kind of amplified the Manchester United way of football or whatever it was, right? I think that's what's happened to Klopp as well. I think he's far more successful at Liverpool. Okay, please, I might be wrong when saying this, but he's more successful in Liverpool than he was prior when he was in Borussia, right?
Oh no, he was so good at Dortmund, though.
He was good at Dortmund, but what I'm
Bayern,
saying is at results and trophies, I think he's achieved quite a bit winning the Champions League, for example, right? I think, is there culturally something different that Klopp brought to your team? And what do you think that was?
Culturally, so I think the blueprint's similar to Dortmund, right? He's done at Liverpool kind of what he's done at Dortmund. The key difference for me is Dortmund every year had their top players picked off by Munich, by Madrid, by whoever else, right? We are finally in a place, and I mean, I genuinely keep my fingers crossed that Coutinho was the last of this. And by the way, we're still loving the Coutinho money, yeah. But for us, it was the same thing. We get a Torres or we get a Suarez, and everyone would be starry-eyed about Barcelona, Madrid, and bugger off, right? So we'd get one good season, we'd be building up, really pushing for challenging, and then they'll go, right, we're off, and then we have to rebuild again, right? It's similar to what Spurs, it happened at Spurs, similar to what happened to us. You could argue a little bit with Arsenal as well. But what he's doing differently now is he knows the guy's not going anywhere. People are getting signed to long-term contracts. You've got Salah now. There was some sniffing around with Salah going to Madrid, Mane going to Madrid. That's died down. He's finding a way to kind of keep his top players, and they're not saying, you know what, we've had a couple of good seasons, we won things, we're going to leave. And for me, that's the biggest difference. And I think that's why I think he's more successful in Liverpool than Dortmund.
So definitely Klopp has that power over players, right? Even people that we want to sign, when they have that chat with Klopp, that's their deciding factor. They're like, okay, I'm going to sign for Liverpool. So definitely a good point there. And when Klopp came in, he obviously brought his Gengen pressing. That's that style of football, the high energy football press. But he also changed the whole culture, right? The attitude of players. Like I remember one of the rules that he made was when we come out of the Anfield tunnel, all the players touch the "This is Anfield" picture, and he said, "Well, you guys don't have a right to touch that just yet. We have not won anything. So the next time we touch it is when we win something, right?" And that small rule, although some people may laugh at it, over time it made players want to give it all. Right, because this is Anfield, this is Liverpool. We have to give it all, and you can see it from on numerous occasions. They go out there and they just grind it. I mean, you play against teams much better than you, right? This was like a season, 2 seasons ago. You're not the best in the world, which we currently are, and you're not the best in England, but you're still getting results. It's just because of that grittiness that he instilled in those players.
Can I ask you guys a question, right? So, you got to talk about, obviously with a successful club, there's got to be a successful structure on the club. Right? Yeah. There's no two ways about it. So, going back to 2007, you had Gillette and Hicks buy over the two, billionaires buy over the club, and then they didn't last too long, and then FSG took over. Do you think that was probably the pivotal moment where Liverpool suddenly transformed into the powerhouse it is today?
Definitely one of the reasons, because when Gillette and Hicks went in together and decided to buy Liverpool together, I think that was the only decision that they ever agreed upon, because every decision after that they never agreed upon. Both owners were fighting with each other. Run the club into millions of debts, and it was a very bad financial time, and results were definitely not going our way. So definitely with the new group FSG, it was a pivotal moment, not only for Liverpool, but for football as a whole, because FSG was one of when they own Boston, right? And have you seen the the movie
Moneyball.
Really interesting, huh?
Yeah.
right? And that's what is, you look at football now, right? Everyone's doing that, and Liverpool was one of the first ones to start doing that. Obviously, the analytical methods have gone much better over the last couple of years, but they were the one of the first football teams to sort of embrace that before buying a player. And I think Liverpool's business, buying and selling players over the last couple of years, have been amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting, right? I think Ajay, you're spot on. The Hicks and Gillett era was just a nightmare, right? I mean, you had, I would argue, we had a world-class coach in Rafa Benitez, who was again the nearly man, because you guys will have the same thing, right? You'll go through now and you'll be like, here's a list of people you could have signed. And you look at that list and you're like, what were we thinking, right? And I'm sure you guys, Man United fans, are probably looking at that list now thinking, what were we thinking, right?
We're signing people from retirement homes now, so.
Yeah, I mean, we famously signed Balotelli, so I don't think we've got to make this.
True.
Right, true. So I think we've all been there as fans. I think the FSG thing is interesting. I know we talk Moneyball, analytics, all of that. For me, till Klopp came in, there was still a lot of criticism, right? So you think about 2004-05 was when Abramovich came in, big money. He was present at every game. He was very involved in what happens. And suddenly people started saying, okay, hold on, we not just need money, but look at these guys. They're in the stadium. He's here. He's involved in the club. He's actually interested. And then even with FSG, there were always murmurs of, these guys are still not interested. They're still running it as a business. They just sat there. They never show up to any of the games, etc., right? But as you said, they've committed to the structure. And the difference between the two seems to be that with FSG, they've run sports franchises before.
Yes, that's very true.
I think they knew what to do. With the Red Sox, the similarities are eerie, right? I mean, not won the World Series in 80 years, last decade, etc. I mean, Moneyball, all that kind of thing. But for me, it was a thing of, they had a plan, but they knew the sports side of it. So if you think of all the people, whether it's sports science has now come in, Michael Edwards, no one talks about him. He's a very, very reticent chap and very shy. But for, Liverpool fans, we love him. He's just kind of, he's the mastermind behind all of these deals, and clearly it's working. But the bit they were missing was the manager, right? So again, you could see what they were trying to do, right? And I think that's the bit for me with United. You guys are missing, but FSG was really clear, right? They had Uncle Boy. Yeah, not going for the fans, so they got in Kenny, which they knew was a short-term piece. Immediately kicked him out. Yeah, again, it could have been easy, right? Because with Kenny, we won the 2011-12 Carling Cup or whatever it was called back then, right? So we won that cup. It could have been very easy to say, let's keep him, and he's emotionally connected to the team. No, they went for Brendan Rodgers. So they were always going for the Brendan Rodgers mold of person, where it's a young, exciting, attacking coach. And I think when they got Klopp, they must have been. It's just been thankful to start. They got the finished product. I mean, Klopp is the finished product of where Rodgers will be in some time, or what he's aspiring to be. I would assume.
To be absolutely.
You can see similarities there. They've got a similar style, very attacking, young, entrepreneurial, think differently. And I think that's where FSG has lucked out. So nobody's criticizing them today because they won trophies.
Exactly. And on the other hand, we have no structure, no idea at this point in time. We're just running up the debts, and it's a very different United.
What do you guys think? As Liverpool supporters looking from outside, we United supporters are very, very critical. I mean, you get divides between fans. Some who are like very, very happy with the ownership, very happy with the manager, and then you got the other side of the coin. People are completely unhappy with the ownership. Think the owners are taking money out of the club all the time. managers being hired with no prior experience or no proven CV. What do you think as Liverpool supporters United should do? Not in our best interest, not in Liverpool's best interest.
Continue. Keep all your things
What do
forever.
you guys think we should do? Like honestly, like how do we change United to become the power that we once used to be?
As a Liverpool fan, don't change. Remain
Oh my
status
gosh.
quo.
Europa League.
Do you
here we
actually
come.
think Ole is good as a manager?
I
Here's the
don't know,
question.
man. It's difficult to say. I think it was so. For example, your captain now is
Maguire.
Bruno. Well, then it became Bruno Fernandes for a couple of games, right?
Just
That's
that one
because
game.
Harry wasn't playing.
Sure, and I think it was evident for everyone to see that he's the right fit. Yeah, so you shouldn't go back to Maguire. So those kinds of decisions, I wish Ole had a bit more balls to just stick with. Put his foot down and just go ahead with. And I'm happy that he doesn't have the guts to do it. But that's one of the things I don't like. About a manager when it's clear for everyone else to see. You've got to do some changes that way. But other than that, I still think it's a bit too early to say. He could turn out to be quite successful, but if given the right time, given the right backroom staff management to back him, right, like someone like Edwards sitting at the top. And the funds. Well, I can't say that he was never given funds. I think you guys have been spending quite a bit, just not in the right places.
We've spent close to 280 million the last 2 years. So
there you go.
We can't say we've not been black.
So you can't say you're not giving him the cash. You're just not giving him the right players, the right information.
But here's my qualm, right? So if you're a player, let's talk about the most horrible transfer gone wrong, which is Jadon Sancho this time. Now, would Jadon Sancho, being Jadon Sancho, want to come to United to play under Ole? Now, that's the question I keep asking. There's one part of it that the board's not signing players or giving him enough funds or making transfers happen. But the other thing is, do the player actually want to come and play for Ole? Now, I don't know the answer to that. I mean, if I were Jadon, I probably would think twice before doing so.
I mean, all emotion aside, right? If you look at it, just if I was a United fan, and thank God I'm not at the moment, but if I was one, Ole's not the right person. If I looked at his CV and said, is this somebody who is going to manage a club of the stature of Man United? He'd not be my first pick. Yeah,
right.
It's different if it was someone you're betting on who's young and who's goes under 19s, under 23s, who's got a fantastic style of play, like an Ajax coach or someone like that is coming up and go, you know what, this is really disrupted. Let's back him and give him some time. Get it?
Yeah.
You're talking about somebody who relegated Cardiff City, right? I mean, I'm sorry, guys. It's the harsh truth, yeah? I mean, for me, that's the key bit. So if you talk about structure, board, and those kind of things, I think you as a club need to figure out what direction you want to go in. Yeah. What do I mean by that? Let's talk City. They've got a structure in place. Yeah. Or Chelsea famously used to do this, right? They were really clear. They wanted a certain style. They wanted to do it. The manager was indispensable. That's not how United or Liverpool. We're not built like that, right? I mean, we don't just hire and fire managers. That's not in the ethos of the club. Fine, maybe you don't want to do that. But you look like City. They're building the infrastructure. They're building all the stuff around it, where you're set up for success for years and years. So it's not just about one manager, right? Yeah. But then it works both ways. I'm sure Pep looked at the infrastructure, looked at all of this, and went, "Dear God, I'd love to work with this," right?
Yeah.
I mean, the youth academies, the women's football, the training facilities, and Tottenham are doing that now, right?
Tottenham are doing that as well. Yeah.
I mean, Arsenal have done it famously, with well-managed and well-run club, with Arsene kind of, pinching pockets and doing all that kind of thing. But ultimately, that's the bit. If I'm a United fan, I'm going, what's the story, guys?
Yeah.
Get it. We've got a powerhouse. I get it. We've got a fantastic stadium. I get it. We've got a good fan base. But what's next, right? and maybe I'm not close enough to the club. And clearly, you guys would know this better than I do. But I looking from the outside in, I don't see it. I definitely don't see it.
The thing is, right, we as United fans, I don't know, we've gone through so many managers in the past, 7-8 years, right? We went through the Moyes, who was supposed to be
God.
Alex Ferguson's protege. That failed. Then we went with someone who was supposed to be really good with young players and all that, and experienced, Van Gaal. That failed. Then we went with a serial winner, Mourinho. That failed. Now with Ole, it seems like we've tried everything and we've not come up with a winning formula. So for me, I think we have to look at the top again, because we've gone through so many managers, and it's we've gone through all the different types of managers that we could have experienced, and it's all failed. So I think with United, we don't have the structure at the top where there's a director of football who overlooks how United should be set up to play. It seems like with United, the managers got a lot more responsibility in terms of hiring players, buying players, hiring coaches, and so.
But this is the point. This is exactly the point I'm making, right? So if you think even of Liverpool, it wasn't all rosy. Yeah, I mean, it was not too long ago when Brendan Rodgers famously had his kind of thing about the transfer committee, about not having it. I know that there was talk about a director of football at Liverpool as well, and lots of managers who came in said, no, I'm not working for it, right? So this is my point. You need to pick a structure and go, we're going to have a director of football, a this and this and this. Let's go get a manager who can work in that structure, because the personalities you had, you were trying to do it the other way around. If I asked Van Gaal, Brendan Rodgers didn't want a director of football.
Why would Van Gaal, right?
Van Gaal wouldn't want Mourinho. Are you kidding me? There's no way he's letting any of that happen, right? So somebody needs to decide and say, this is the structure, this is what we want to do. And then you slot in, you bring in the managers, right? So at the moment, you've got a halfway house where the structure's not there, and you've got a manager who,
who can't supervise the structure either, right? I mean, it's just. But before we kind of move into some segue and ask you questions about, take it through the Liverpool and Man United games in the past, which Garry has prepared a wonderful trivia for you guys.
Easy questions.
But just before we move there, one opinion from you guys. Would Pochettino solve the problem? And Garry, please go ahead and answer this question as well, because I kind of want to hear.
I'll open the floor to the Liverpool
fans first, but would Poch, who's probably thrown in very frequently, would he help?
Well, it will be interesting because Poch, he gives a lot of priority to talent building and the youngsters. Quite a high energy, high pressing game as well. So it will be quite interesting, but he would probably need one or two transfer windows to get the players he needs, right? I don't think your wing backs are the kind of players he typically deals with.
Our wing backs are probably best suited for an under 18 game. That's exactly what I want to say. But
I'd say
it would be interesting.
Tellez could have been. He looks really promising.
Indeed. It would be interesting. And it would be nice to get him back into the game.
Yeah,
he's a really good manager.
Wish?
To me, of the names out there, if I'm a United fan, I'd sign Poch tomorrow.
Oh, he's the only one available, isn't he?
Yeah, and again, I still think what we talked about just a couple of minutes ago in terms of the structure and all that is still important, right? Because what Poch bought into with Levy was a similar vision, right? He moved them into a stadium. He moved them into a new facility. It's really unfortunate that it felt like he got to that end of the road with that Spurs team, which Mourinho had now picked up, and there's some fantastic players in that team. Right?
Oh, yes.
Poch developed them. So it's a real shame because they came up so close against us. I mean, that final, and you and I were watching this together, it was an absolute nail biter. Right? It could have gone
either way.
What would have happened if Spurs had won that, and maybe Poch would have been a completely different scenario.
Different guy, right?
But he's, as you say, for me, he knows what he's doing. And the question is, does the Man United board or whoever is deciding this have a structure that can work with him and say, it's not just about the funds, right? Because he proved at Spurs, he did it on a limited budget. Not maybe you guys will correct me, but I don't see any kind of fancy signings, Pogba, Bale type signing. He never did that, which you guys seem to be doing a lot of these days, right? You've got Di Maria, now you've got Cavani. You seem to be signing all these kind of already made
Short
superstars,
sellers.
30s of their career. From that perspective, I think Poch will be fantastic. But whether it'll work for the club and what their ambition is, I don't know.
Garry, what do you think, man? Very quickly, yes or no? Poch.
I am 50-50 on it because I think regardless of which manager we bring in, I think there's going to be it's not going to be sustainable the way we are set up. Going back to what Vishnu said, there's no structure in the club. We don't, there's no game plan on how the club, should play football, whether we play with wingers, whether we play through the middle. We seem to be buying different pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, and we're all trying to,
But we're buying the same pieces of different jigsaw puzzles. That's the problem.
Yeah, there's no there's no structure in recruitment as well. Initially, last year it was we were buying the best English talent out there. This season we've done the complete opposite and we've gone into Europe. So I think what needs to change is that I think we need to get in a really good director of football, someone who's not going to be Ed Woodward's what do you call it?
Yes man.
Yeah, yes man who'll just do what he wants. Someone who's got the best interest of the club and who'll basically take Ed Woodward out of the footballing direction of the club and just focus on financials, where this guy can come in and really sit down with Ole and decide how the club should go forward.
Yeah, I think so too. I think if you ask my stance on it, I think Poch should come in like tomorrow, and he should have done that. He should have probably done that before the transfer window, right? I mean, before the international break. I mean, for two reasons. I think although Poch hasn't won anything either, he has a better system of developing players, I think. And two, I think he'll be very frugal in the way he spends money. Rather than buying superstars, he'll buy players who kind of want to play. At least the footballing aspect is then fixed. What happens on the top is a discussion for later. But anyway, Garry, shoot away the questions, man. Let's see how the Liverpool fans.
You guys ready?
Nice.
All right. So I've got 5 questions here. All right. If you can't get them right,
I'll get them.
Don't forget. So I'll start off with the easy ones, okay? In 2000, Liverpool beat Manchester United 1-0 at Old Trafford. Okay, 1-0 at Old Trafford. This ended United's 2-year Premiership unbeaten streak record at home. So at Old Trafford. Which player scored the winning goal for Liverpool? A. Steven Gerrard. B. Michael Owen. C. Vladimir Smitzer. D. Danny Murphy.
I think I remember. I'm going to go with Murphy.
I'm going to say Danny Murphy.
That's correct.
Hey.
I hated the game so much. I just hated the game.
I hated Danny Murphy so much.
Everyone wanted us to lose that game.
Was it a free kick?
Free kick, that's right.
Free kick.
Yeah.
Oh, I hated the game so much.
I hated that guy so much, Danny Murphy. Jesus, make my blood boil to see him play.
Horrible pundit as well. Horrible.
It was a ridiculous signing. They signed him when he was well past his, what you would consider well past a footballer's prime. But he had 3-4 really good seasons.
Really good seasons, yeah, indeed.
And he was always the nibbler right in the midfield. Fucking, he's just so dirty.
It's annoying, that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, second question, guys. 3 of these players have played for both clubs. So both clubs being United and Liverpool.
Don't give them the choices.
Okay, No, I've got to give them the choices.
No, but it's easy then. So don't give them the choices. Let's go ahead.
Okay.
Well, I'll start the first one. Paul Ince.
Okay.
Michael Owen.
Okay.
Difficult, I think.
Third one. You got a third one.
Give us.
There's actually more than 3.
Oh, there's definitely more than way a lot more. All right.
Let's see. We're talking about in the last 30 years.
What position? Maybe that will help us.
Midfield.
The last 30 years, huh?
Got Ince, Owen, and
Should I just give you the answer? There's a whole list of people. It was going to be multiple choice. So Peter
Klopp.
Beardsley. He played in the
Beardsley, right?
Yeah. And then I was going to put in Gabriel Heinze there. Gabriel Heinze did not play for Liverpool. He wanted to play for Liverpool, then we kicked him out. He went to Real.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for him. All right, this one, third one. Who was the last player to score a hat-trick in a match between Man United and Liverpool? A. Robbie Fowler, B. Dimitar Berbatov, and C. Dirk Kuyt.
Berbatov.
I think it's Decoit, but I can't tell. Berbatov also scored, didn't he? But I can't tell which one was first.
Which one is it? So the last hat trick.
I think it's Berbatov.
I'll go with Berbatov.
Berbatov.
It's
sorry guys, it's Dirk Kuyt. Berbatov scored in the season before.
Oh,
Dirk Kuyt scored in 20. Yeah.
Should have gone with our player.
Yeah, obviously, we'd want to be nice because you guys go on the show. So
right, we're the guests, aren't we?
Yeah.
All right, two more questions. So the fourth one, Liverpool have won the Champions League, or formerly known as the European Cup, a total of 6 times right now. How many times have United won the Champions League?
3?
3?
3 or 4? I was going to say 3. 3.
Yeah, that's right.
3.
So we won, the first one with Matt Busby.
2 with Ferguson.
2 with Ferguson.
Yeah, and then 99 and 2008.
Yeah.
Wow, you guys are being really nice with the questions, man.
Okay, this one's an interesting one. Okay, another one about Liverpool and Man United players. So all of these players have played for both Liverpool and United, but which of these players moved directly across their rivals? So, move directly from United to Liverpool or Liverpool to United?
I can say nothing in our era. I think that must be back in the 50s or 60s.
Because a direct move is really ballsy.
Yeah.
No idea.
No.
Okay, the last
the
last player was Phil Chisnell. That was in 1964.
Chisnell.
Long time ago.
60s. Yeah.
That was a hard one, but yeah, you guys did well.
Good.
Yeah.
So did you know Sir Matt Busby? And during his playing days, he was captain of Liverpool for a season, and Man City before Liverpool. So you guys got a Liverpool boy, yeah?
Yeah.
Well,
and
I wish I could say the same about we returning you a favor. But yeah.
But do you think? Last question. Do you think Klopp is going to be there for long? How long do you think Klopp?
I hope so, man. I hope so. So he signed his contract till 24? I think 2024.
24.
Yeah.
It's the one question most Liverpool fans don't want to think about, right? When Klopp leaves, it's gonna be massive, right? It's gonna be probably just as big as Bergie leaving for you guys, and I appreciate that was much bigger over a longer period of time. The thing I feel with Klopp and Guardiola and all of these guys, you think back to all of their last seasons, the players looked drained. They just looked like, I've given you every inch and ounce of blood I have, and that's it, we're done. So you think Klopp's final season, it was kind of petered out. But Guardiola, Barcelona, famously, they all kind of had some, fighting and all that. My hope is that, so what he has promised us is he's promised us a second team. And I'm keeping fingers crossed with the likes of now Diego Jota coming in, 23, he's in the mold of Mane. So Mane, Salah, like 29, 24. So he's saying what I will do definitely is build that new wave of that second team there, and then
kind of take over. Yeah.
and hopefully that gives us enough momentum to at least take us for the next decade beyond that.
Yeah.
It's a decade. It's a decade from when he started, so 2025, 24, 25. And then after that, who knows? Who knows?
Do you think the only other job he'd probably go for is the German one? No. And I remember both of us having this conversation, Vishnu as well, saying, yeah, I think the only way out probably would be something on those lines, the international
I
job.
heard he's quite he's quite a reserved guy. He wants to spend time with his family once he's done with football.
Yeah, he'll probably take a sabbatical for like a year,
just-
which is what he did after Dortmund as well.
Dortmund, right.
Yeah, but I think his end game was probably
The German role, yeah.
Yeah, the German national team.
I think so. He's not. Yeah, I can't see him going. So you think of what's the next big job in football? He's not going to go to any of the English rivals. He's just not going to. That's just the type of person he is. So that rules out, England. He's already been in Germany. I don't see him as that kind of vanity manager who will take up Barcelona, Madrid, PSG, Juventus. I mean, maybe language. He's always spoken about language being a big deal, and that he needs to speak the language of the country he's in. So, yeah, maybe national coach.
Sure. Quickly, what position do you think Liverpool will finish the season? One?
Is that one from the
Fingers
bottom?
crossed, man.
Yeah, shut up. I think that'll be where Man United will finish. But
well, hoping the injuries don't set us back too much. If not for that, I'd be pretty confident to say that we'd retain it.
Okay. Vishnu?
Yeah, same here. I mean, it all depends on. It's just been a weird season, right? Really weird season. Depends on how it goes from here. If we manage to keep our players fit, I would say we're definitely up there. I'd say we'll finish first. It's no two ways about it. If they're injuries, probably second.
Okay.
And
who's going to finish?
I don't know.
Okay.
City are stumbling. City are always going to be favorites, right? I mean, City's they'll just bring on whoever they need to. They'll sign another couple of people in January, and then next thing you know, they're banging goals.
Yeah.
Chelsea.
And Garry, yours? Sorry.
I think Liverpool will win it. I think Liverpool's going to win it. I think Chelsea are going to finish second. I think City are going to finish third. And the surprise package for Tottenham.
I don't think Tottenham will finish in fourth. I think Tottenham will finish second or third. I think
Spurs would be second. Yeah.
Second or third, yeah.
Second or third between Spurs and City.
Yeah.
I think it'll be Liverpool, whoever wins it, or probably Liverpool or City will win it. I think they'll be one. I think Tottenham will be two. Chelsea will be three, and four will be Everton or Arsenal or United. I think that'll be my guess. But we'll see.
Yeah, 30 more games to go. So
it's a long season ahead, huh?
Yeah. All right. Vishnu and Ajay, thank you so much for joining us today. Really, really appreciate your insight. It's good to know
for having us,
we're
man.
still crap. But anyway, one day we'll hopefully turn around and we can start
and
talking
have more
rivals.
Exactly.
But yeah, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks for coming on the show. And hope to have you again on the next show whenever we decide to do this.
We'll do one before the Liverpool United game.
Yeah,
so.
That'll be a big one.
That'll be a big one. That's in Jan, I think. Jan 17th.
Jan,
yeah, it's been a pleasure, and all the best. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure these things come in cycles. So we've traded seats. We've been in your position for a long time, so it's nice to be on this side of it for once. So.
No problems. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. If you like the video, hit a like on the like button, and please subscribe to the channel if you're new, and put on your comments if you want to see more videos like this. Until next time, this is Chai with Garry.